The laughter started the moment Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez walked into the barracks at the Galactic Defense Academy on Proxima Station. She was small by military standards, barely 5.5 feet tall, lean rather than bulky, with her dark hair pulled into a regulation bun. Among the towering Corthani warriors, the armored Veltrac shock troops, and the cybernetically enhanced Nexian soldiers, she looked absurdly out of place. "That's the human," Cadet Zarkoan whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. The massive Corthani stood nearly 8 feet tall, his 4 arms crossed over a chest that looked carved from granite. "She looks like she'd blow away in a breeze." The other cadets snickered. This was Alpha Company, the elite training unit where only the best warriors from each species were selected. Rumors had circulated for weeks that a human was being assigned to their ranks, but seeing her in person was somehow more disappointing than they'd imagined. Rodriguez set her gear on an empty bunk, her face neutral, giving no indication she'd heard the mockery. She began unpacking with efficient, practiced movements. "Hey, little human," called out Cadet Thex, a Veltrac whose exoskeleton gleamed under the fluorescent lights. "Are you sure you're in the right place? The civilian sector is 3 levels down." More laughter. The barracks door suddenly slammed open with enough force to dent the metal frame. Drill Instructor Kravax entered like a walking avalanche. The Dravosian was a legend, a veteran of 16 campaigns, survivor of the siege of Terminus, holder of 3 medals of extreme valor. His species were natural predators, and Kravax had the scars to prove he was the apex among the... "Attention!" his voice thundered. Every cadet snapped to position instantly, spine straight, eyes forward. Every cadet except Rodriguez, who calmly finished folding a shirt before standing at attention. Kravax's predatory eyes swept the room, and his expression was murderous. He crossed the barracks in 3 massive strides and walked directly past the formation to stand in front of Rodriguez. Then, to the absolute shock of every cadet present, Drill Instructor Kravax came to attention and saluted. "Colonel Rodriguez," he said, his gravelly voice carrying clearly. "Welcome to Alpha Company. It's an honor to have you observing our training program." The silence was deafening. "Colonel." Rodriguez returned the salute crisply. "At ease, Instructor Kravax. I'm here as a cadet, not an observer. I'll be training alongside everyone else." "Ma'am," Kravax's voice held something that might have been concern. "With respect, you don't need to." "That's an order, Instructor." Kravax's salute was even sharper the second time. "Yes, ma'am." "Understood, ma'am." He turned to face the formation of stunned cadets, and his expression shifted from respectful to absolutely feral. "Let me educate you worthless larvae about the recruit you were just mocking," Kravax snarled. "Colonel Emma Rodriguez. Served in the Human Special Operations Command for 12 years before joining the Galactic Defense Force. Commanded the defense of Arcturus Station against a Scourge fleet 3 times her numbers. Held the line for 48 hours with less than 200 soldiers until reinforcements arrived." He began pacing, his boots echoing ominously. "She's forgotten more about warfare than your collective species have learned in 1,000 years. She volunteered to go through basic training again because she wanted to understand how the GDF operate from the ground up before accepting a command position." Kravax stopped in front of Zarkoan, who suddenly looked much smaller despite his size. "Humans," the instructor continued, his voice dropping to something more dangerous than a shout, "are the only species in the known galaxy who achieve spaceflight while still fighting wars on their home planet. They're the only species who looks at a peaceful situation and immediately starts planning for combat. They turned warfare into an art form before they invented the wheel." He turned back to Rodriguez, who stood impassively, her expression revealing nothing. "Colonel Rodriguez has personally eliminated more enemies than this entire cadet class combined. She's led soldiers through hell and brought them home. She's earned every scar, every commendation, and every ounce of respect that her rank commands." Kravax's voice rose to a roar. "And you laughed at her." The cadets seemed to collectively shrink. "For the next 16 weeks, you will address her as Cadet Rodriguez when she's training alongside you. But you will remember, always remember, that she could order me to run laps around the station, and I would ask, "How many, ma'am?" He glared at each cadet in turn. "Are we clear?" "Sir, yes, sir." The response was instantaneous and loud. Rodriguez finally allowed herself the smallest smile. "Instructor Kravax, permission to address the company?" "Granted, ma'am." He caught himself. "Cadet Rodriguez." She stepped forward, her eyes scanning the cadets who'd mocked her minutes before. "I'm not here to make you feel bad about first impressions," she said quietly. "I'm here because I believe in what the Galactic Defense Force represents. I'm going through training because I want to lead soldiers who understand what it means to serve." Her voice carried weight despite its softness. "You'll learn that humans measure strength differently than most species. We don't value size or natural armor or built-in weapons. We value adaptability, persistence, the ability to face impossible odds and find a way to win anyway." She looked at Zarcoin directly. "By the time we graduate, I hope you'll all understand that." Rodriguez returned to her bunk and resumed unpacking as if nothing had happened. No one laughed anymore. And 16 weeks later, when Cadet Zarcoin received his commission, he requested assignment to Colonel Rodriguez's command. He wasn't the only one.